Hi, this is Justice with Tablet Pro, and in this video I'm going to try and answer one specific question. One I've been asking myself for a while. Can I swap out all of my cables for just one super cable? And I've tried like quite a few times. You can see here all of these. If you're gonna do this, you need to have magnetic heads so that one cable can do the job of 3 cables or 6 cables, depending on what you're plugging it into on the other end. So here, you can see this big mess. It's kind of cool, really. These all have different, not all of them have different, there's typically 3. Let me show you actually what these look like. So here, there's this one, which is kind of a little groove cut into it. And this type, which is flat. It's got a bunch of little metal pins. Same thing, less pins. Round with a single pin. These don't do as much current, so you can't charge something very powerful. This one is beastie. This one does 100 watts, but is not very slim and not very practical in my experience. Here's another type. Okay, so to get to kind of a little further along in the question here on what works and what doesn't, what I'm looking at is I'm looking at magnetic USB-C charging cables. So these guys, what they do is they plug into the USB-C port on your device. Here, this is another different type. A USB-C port on your device, like on a tablet, a MacBook, a Surface Pro, Surface Book, it doesn't really matter. Something that has power delivery and USB-C. And then it plugs into a charging brick in the wall. And instead of using the stock charger that costs $100 and will only charge one thing, the idea is that you use a power brick and something like this. So here's what I found out. My setup, I have a couple different tablet holders over here, and one up here holding my phone, and then another one over here to hold a second monitor or second screen. So then I've got a power strip. I have a power strip on the floor that's typically completely full. Now, if I'm going on vacation or I'm going to work in my car at the beach and I have 4 or 5 different devices with me, that's a pain in the butt. And I don't like that. And if you're watching this video, you probably don't like that either. So I've been looking at these different combo cables. So let me show you what that means. So one end looks like this. Here, USB-C. USB-C, this is what's going to give you the faster charging capability, the higher power charging capability. And then this part right here is the USBA, which is going to give you more flexibility in how you charge your kind of lower power devices, like an Xbox controller or a keyboard. By the way, I'm planning on doing a review on this keyboard in the future. It's kind of cool. And you can see my headphones. I have a nice pair of Bose headphones, and you know, that's micro USB charging, that's USB-C charging, and that is Lightning adapter charging for my iPhone. If I'm able to reduce all of my cables to a single cable that will charge my computer, as well as my controller, my phone, I have a USB light up here, all of those things with single cable, that's my goal. So what I did is I ordered a bunch from Amazon, a couple from China, and I have a few more that should be coming from China because I couldn't find any more from Amazon. And let me tell you some of the problems that I had. So some of these worked for a couple times, and some of them not at all. And when it comes to charging cables, those of you who are looking at this probably understand this. It's like um, like plumbing or water hose. You can't have a super, not necessarily super skinny, but you have to have enough room for the amount of power to go through, kind of like water through a hose. You might be able to use a tiny little straw, and you can push water through it. You can push electricity through a skinny little cable, but it's going to limit the amount that you can do. So you see this massive, thick one right here. This one can handle a lot of current. And obviously there's different types of cable, different types of wire, different types that can hold more or less while still being thin. These, you can see this one is covered in a rubber cover. These ones are braided nylon. My preference, I like the braided nylon better as it just doesn't get wound up too much. So here is my goal. I want to have one travel charger. So I bring one or two of the same type of cable with me, and then I have these little heads already attached to my devices. Let me pop one in here. So here we're going to put this inside of here. So then I have this little charging connector on here, and then I just have a cable or two. I plug it into either a single or dual charging brick in the wall, and I have one or two cables, and it charges everything that I have with me. I don't even need to unplug my chargers for my Surface Pro 7 or whatever device I'm using from the power strip on the floor in my room. That's the goal. And so what I'm finding is there's certain cables that barely work, some where the power is really, really low. So these, this is what I'm finding. So on here, you can see the number of pins, right? So this number of pins, and this is very flush. This one is not flush. This one has that groove in it, which means that when it connects to this cable up here, so anyway, this sticks out. This is like a little, like it's a male head, and this is a female connector, as opposed to kind of a genderless connection. That's not wrong to say, just for clarity. Okay, so this is going to penetrate this, and that's going to provide a secure, tight connection. Or you can increase the magnetic strength of the head, and both of those will work. That way, this guy is not just easily snapping off or coming off. The number of pins here seems to make a difference. The strength of the connection, the type of metal that's being used, all these things are affecting, like this one right here. Look, this one. There's just four little skinny pins, and this thing barely works. Not a great, well thought out design. All right, so what my goal here is, you guys, most of you know that I sell a couple styluses, like this. And I did reviews on stylus for a long time. And when I did reviews on stylus, I found one that I really liked. And it was better for artwork than the Surface stylus, and it cost like 30, 40 bucks, right? So Surface stylus is like $70 to $100, and the line's not great. So I found this stylus, I did a review on it. I contacted the manufacturer and said, hey, I would like to sell the stylus you guys make. And we worked out a deal. I'm older and hopefully wiser now, and I'm looking at this market and I'm going, okay, this is something I want. And actually these different ones on Amazon are not working. Now, what I could do is, if I find one on Amazon, I can simply find that same one, source it from China or wherever it's from, and sell that one. So there's really no benefit for me to find a different one, just to find one that works and then make a better offering, whether it's a better price or whatever. So the goal here is to find one that works really well, to find out what features you guys are interested in. I know what I like, but what things you guys are interested in. This is a little snap-on thing. So here you would take the cable and you can store the little magnetic heads inside of this and it stays on here. Honestly, I think it's neat, but it's not something that I really use because once I have the little magnetic heads inside of my device, I just want to leave them there. They protect the port and I don't really have any reason to constantly be changing it in and out. All right, so I would like for you guys to sound off in the comment section and say and share with me what things you guys like and are interested in. So there's a couple different variants here. This one is 100 watts. So far, this is the one I like the most. Let me show you the other end actually is so most of these have USB-A and USB-C. I would rather just use USB-C only, but let me know if that's something that's important to you. Do you have a bunch of USB-A devices? Because what you can do is you can get, yeah, probably one that just has a USB-C to USB-A dongle or connector on one end. So most likely we'll be going with something that has a USB-C to USB-A dongle on one end. Some of these that I tested out only have one type of head. So really all you're getting is just a more expensive cable that is magnetic. And I don't really care that much about the magnetic aspect of it. Like it's nice that you can attach it to something with one hand. You know you don't have to have the second hand to hold it and insert it into the device. It'll just snap on. Nice, but I'm not carrying a baby. I have two functional hands, so don't care too much about that. But for me, the important things is it needs to have at least 3 connectors. Oh, by the way, these lightning ones, so some of these have the pins on both sides. That's up here, this top part, these little lines, the pins. Okay, they have the pins on both sides, but when you insert it into the phone, it will only work when it's inserted one direction. It'll go in both directions, but it won't work one of the directions. So then you're like, oh, this is broken. It doesn't work. But you have to take it out, flip it, and put it back in, and it'll work. Now, if you're charging from a charging box and it's the wrong charging box, then it won't work. Like you can't plug your computer into your phone charger or the phone charging port, like the USB-A charging port. I can find that. Okay, quick little tutorial here. This is USB-A. It's not very powerful. It is very common. So you can charge certain things like small tablets, phones, headphones, game controllers with this. This is USB-C. USB-C has a far greater capability and range of products that it works with. So you can charge like a MacBook or a laptop or a tablet or a lot of different things that have USB-C PD, power delivery charging capability. Okay, so that's the little tutorial here. And the way it works is you have volts times amps. So if you have a 5-volt 3 amp, you multiply them together to get 15 watts. All right, so I'm going to do more on this. Like I said, this one so far is the front runner, the one I like the most. It does not come with that here, and the reason I like it the most is it's a 100-watt charger. So my computer is a 65 watt. It has a 65-watt charger that comes with it, and the rest of these, with the exception of this giant one, is 60 watts. The other ones that I found that worked semi-decently on Amazon, they are 60 watts and they come with 2 heads, and they are missing either the lightning connector or the micro USB. And I want something that's going to charge everything. I don't want to have an extra micro cable with me in order to charge everything. Just one thing is fine. That's all I want. One cable or 2 of the same. All right, you guys, that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Put your questions in the comment section and I will link to these as I learn more and as I get further along in this process.